Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is SN and in today's video I'm going to be reviewing Rattle Snake. So if you're ready, let's get into this video. So guys, yes, Rattle Snake is finally on Netflix. By the way, this movie is not new, it's just now coming to Netflix. First of all, let me say that I'm not going to be comparing this movie to the original just because the original came out in 1995 and yeah, I don't have any memories from 1995 because I was pretty much still in diapers running around the house naked, you know. But essentially this movie is about a young boy or a young man, I would say, who lost his father very early on, only for him to come back to Lagos and find out that his mom and his uncle played a fast one on him, killed his dad so that they could take his wealth. In that vein, guy gets angry, kills his mom. He then becomes this notorious arm robber, forms a gang. It's like a money heist Lupin situation going on. Gone to steal and stolen from the wrong person, and now the police and this Alaji, who is like a super drug lord, main villain of the show, is out to get him, and a lot of other things unfold. First of all, the acting. You know, I always talk about the acting and the actors and all of that. So it was kind of like a mix of new Nollywood and old Nollywood. I feel like people from old Nollywood, they had like very small roles here and there, nothing major, and some of them did well. Like it was really refreshing to see Chinyere Wilfred, but there were just some people that I was just like, first of all, let's talk about Omotola's acting. Omotola is a great actress. We all know that. For some reason, in this movie, when I saw her and I watched her, I was really disappointed. I was like, this acting is below subpar, is bad. It was ridiculous. Her giggles because she was laughing, I was like, it felt very fake, very unreal. Like I actually cringed watching her. She was just a complete no. And then when we now move to the new Nollywood part, I also found out that most of the actors, because some of the actors here were quite new, there was one guy that acted as Igbe. He was part of the gang. Damn, that guy cannot act. I found out that they actually got some of these actors from an Instagram audition, and I'm like, even if you want to support the ministry, discover new talents through Instagram and all of that jazz, like pick really good people. I know the Egbe guy didn't have like a lead role, like a major role, but when he was talking, it felt like he was reading the lines. His facial expressions did nothing for me. Osas wasn't the best person to act Amara. Now, I had to go back and ask a few people that had seen the original one, and I was like, what was this Amara character like, right? What I found out was the Amara girl was supposed to be this sweet spoken, nice, lovely, gentle girl, the opposite of her brother Nze. However, Osas is not Igbo. Mind you, in this movie there was a lot of Igbo speaking, and it didn't bother me too much because I personally enjoy the language. But Osas is not Igbo. She doesn't speak Igbo. She had a few lines that she had to speak in Igbo. It wasn't fluent. It felt like she crammed it. It's like Ahanna Mabia. It just didn't gel. Now Osas has this very posh accent, and in as much as she tried to dim it down, I don't know if she intentionally tried to dim it down, it still came through. You know, like I can hear boys say nah, man, blah blah blah, and then I'm hearing her speak like, oh, but Nze, you know, it just felt wrong. It just wasn't right. It just gave me Temiotedola vibes in that movie. What's the name of that movie? Citation, you know, like very unbelievable, very unrealistic. And I feel like whoever is like casting people should cast correctly. I feel like there's like 1001 Nigerian Igbo actresses that could have easily played that role. Like, now let's talk about the good ones, yeah? Like I said, Bucci Franklin, yo, that guy is the MVP of this entire movie. He carried the movie from start to finish. His acting was remarkable. It was everything and then some. The lead also that was played by Stan Nze, the guy that played Ahanna, I liked him. I actually believed him. I connected with him. You know, the first few minutes of the movie where they show us how his father died when he went to the village and all that, and I have to applaud them. The beginning part of a movie is very, very vital, at least for me. When I watch a movie, if you can't captivate me within the first 10-15 minutes, I'm like, yeah, I'm watching this movie, even if it turns out to be shit later on. So they really did that. Now, speaking of story progression, the story progression was very bumpy. The story in general, before we talk about progression, the story in itself was average. I'm not going to say it was absolutely weak, but it had a lot of loopholes. It felt like they tried to do too much. They were just setting scenes that were very, very irrelevant. For example, that scene where they went to South Africa. I get it, they wanted to show us that they went to have a good time, but man, that scene was long, and I was like, okay, I get it. You guys had a good time. You went bungee jumping or skydiving. You rode in very nice flashy cars. Like, they kept showing us the scene with the cars over and over again. I was like, okay. And then when Nze was now telling the guys that, 10 men cannot be friends for 10 years, it felt like he was disbanding the group. But then a few scenes later, we see that they are planning to rob an art gallery. It just didn't gel. The story was weak in certain places, and the progression for me didn't really make sense. The way they went from we're laying low, and next thing they're in a, what will I call it now, like a tailor's shop or something, like not a tailor shop but like a fashion house, yeah. And then Omotola, with her bad acting, now shows up, and all of a sudden Nze is eyeing her, and then you're inviting the gang to an art show. Ugh, I beg, please, we're not idiots here, okay? See, like the parts where they also introduced Toby Bakare, who was acting as this undercover detective or police officer. His boss was played by Gloria Anozie. There was this scene where she was in her room in the middle of the night, and all of a sudden Toby just shows up, and she's like, oh, why did you scare me? I'm like, why would you even creep up into your boss's room in the middle of the night and scare her shitless because you want to come and give her information? Like, I don't get it. I just felt like living in bondage was so good that I had high expectations for Rattle Snake, and it didn't live up to the expectations. The acting was it was so. The storyline was average. I think those are like the two major things in terms of like costume, music. I felt like that was fine. Cinematography was also good. I enjoyed the infusion of the Igbo language. I really enjoyed it. It didn't put me off. So overall, I'll say this movie was average and it was below expectation. If I was going to rate this movie, I would rate this movie 6/10. So yeah, that's why I'm going to rate it. Minus all the tiny loopholes here and there, I think it's a pretty decent movie, and I have high hopes for Nollywood. I feel like we can actually produce really good movies if we put in the effort. So yeah, that's the end of this review, guys. Until my next one, bye.
Hey, speak to me kindly. I'm the type of girl you call wife.